Han Bin stood on his tiptoes, pressing his small hands against the thick glass of the greenhouse. His dark eyes followed the movement of a strange bird outside. It had 6 wings that shimmered like mother-of-pearl in Dawn 3's morning light. The 8-year-old boy watched as it landed on a nearby rock, its feathers changing color to match the stone's purple-gray shade. Han Bin, time for your studies. His mother, Dr. Song Jada, called from the research station's main building. 5 more minutes, Mom. The sparkle wing is doing the color change thing again. Han Bin shouted back, not taking his eyes off the creature. These birds were his favorite part of living on Dawn 3, humanity's farthest colony from Earth. Jaya walked over to join her son, her footsteps echoing on the metal walkway. She wore the standard science team uniform with her name patch slightly crooked, something her husband always teased her about. You know, when I was your age back on Earth, I only got to see pigeons and sparrows. You're very lucky to be here. Han Bin nodded seriously. I know. Dad says we're the first humans to see these birds. That makes us, what's the word? Pioneers, Jaya smiled, ruffling his hair. Speaking of your father, he's waiting in the lab. Today's lesson is about plant growth in low gravity. The boy's face lit up. While other kids might have found science lessons boring, Han Bin loved learning from his parents. Being the only child in a colony of 30 scientists meant he got plenty of attention and access to all sorts of interesting experiments. They walked together through the settlement's main corridor, their feet making soft thumping sounds on the treated bamboo flooring. The corridor's walls were clear, showing the beautiful alien landscape outside. Purple-leafed trees swayed in the wind, their branches dancing under Dawn 3's twin suns. The settlement of New Busan wasn't very big, just 5 main buildings connected by corridors, with the greenhouse dome being the largest structure. But to Han Bin, it was a whole world of wonders. Each day brought new discoveries as the science team studied the planet's unique ecosystem. In the main lab, Dr. Nam Kita was setting up today's experiment. He looked up as his son entered, pushing his glasses back up his nose. There's my assistant, ready to learn about plant behavior in 0.8 Earth gravity. Han Bin rushed over to his father's workstation, almost knocking over a tray of seedlings in his excitement. Kita caught the tray with practiced ease. This wasn't the first time his son's enthusiasm had nearly caused an accident. Careful there, scientist. Kita laughed. First rule of the lab, controlled movements. Sorry, Dad, Han Bin said, settling down on his special lab stool. It was marked with his name and decorated with stickers of Earth animals, a gift from the supply ship crew on his last birthday. As Kita began explaining the day's experiment, Han Bin noticed something odd through the lab's window. One of the sparkle wings was acting strange. Instead of their usual graceful flight, it was flying erratically, as if scared. Then another joined it, and another. Dad, look, Han Bin pointed. The birds are acting weird. Kita paused his lesson, frowning at the sight. More birds were joining the confused flock, all flying away from something beyond the settlement's perimeter. Suddenly, the lab's emergency lights began flashing red. The colony's AI voice spoke calmly over the speakers. Unknown objects entering atmosphere. All personnel to safety stations. This is not a drill. Jaya immediately moved toward Han Bin, but Kita raised his hand. Wait, let me check the readings first. Could be a meteor shower. He never finished his sentence. Through the lab's windows, they saw them. Massive dark shapes descending through the clouds, their hulls reflecting the light of Dawn 3's twin suns. They were clearly ships, but unlike any human vessels they'd ever seen. The colony's small defense shield hummed to life, a standard precaution for any unknown contact. Han Bin watched, fascinated and a little scared, as his parents shared a worried look. Mom, Dad, what's happening? Before either could answer, the settlement's AI spoke again, this time with real urgency in its artificial voice. Multiple hostile signatures detected. Emergency evacuation protocols engage. All personnel to escape pods immediately. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. The peaceful morning on Dawn 3 was over. And for Hanbin, his parents, and the entire settlement of New Buzan, life was about to change forever. The evacuation alarm blared through New Buzan's corridors as chaos erupted. Kita grabbed Hanbin's hand while Jaya quickly collected their emergency tablets. The family rushed toward the nearest escape pod station, joining the stream of running scientists and researchers. "Stay close," Kita shouted over the noise. The whole building shook as something exploded outside. Through the corridor's clear walls, they could see 3 massive black ships hovering over the settlement. Each one was shaped like a curved blade, dark metal gleaming against Dawn 3's purple sky. Hanbin stumbled, and Kita pulled him up without stopping. The boy's heart was racing. This wasn't like their emergency drills at all. In the drills, everyone stayed calm and walked quickly. Now, people were shouting and running, their faces filled with fear. The first attack hit the greenhouse dome. The defense shield flickered and failed as a beam of red light cut through it like paper. The beautiful dome shattered, sending glass raining down. All of Hanbin's beloved plants and the strange birds' nests they had been studying were destroyed in seconds. Escape pods 1 through 4, ready for launch. The colony AI announced. Warning: hostile forces attempting to jam communications. They'd reached the escape pod station, joining the crowd of people trying to board. Dr. Lee from the biology team was organizing everyone into groups. Pods can take 6 people each. Families first. Another explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered, and Hanbin's grip on his father's hand loosened. Someone bumped into them hard, and suddenly Hanbin found himself separated from his parents in the crowd. "Dad," he called out, panic rising in his chest. "Mom." Hanbin. He heard his mother's voice somewhere in the chaos. "Stay where you are. We'll come to you." But the crowd was moving like a river now, pushing and pulling. Hanbin tried to fight against it, but he was too small. He found himself being carried toward a different corridor than the one his parents had been pushed into. Through the clear walls, he saw more alien ships appearing from the clouds. They were smaller than the first 3, but there were dozens of them. They started firing at the settlement's buildings with precise shots, systematically destroying each structure. The corridor ahead was blocked by fallen debris. The crowd changed direction, but Hanbin saw a small space he could crawl through. Maybe it would lead to where his parents were. He squeezed through the gap before anyone could stop him. On the other side, he found himself in the empty medical wing. The attack had already damaged this section. Parts of the ceiling had collapsed, and the air smelled like burned plastic. "Mom." "Dad?" His voice echoed in the empty space. The evacuation alarm was quieter here, almost drowned out by the sound of destruction outside. Suddenly, the wall beside him exploded inward. The force threw Hanbin across the room. He landed hard, his head hitting something metal. Through blurry eyes, he saw a figure step through the broken wall. It was tall, at least twice the size of his father. Its body was covered in what looked like black armor, with sharp edges that reminded Hanbin of the strange bird's feathers. Its head was smooth and helmeted, with no face visible, just a dark reflective surface. Hanbin tried to move, but his body wouldn't respond properly. His vision was getting darker around the edges. The alien warrior stood over him, its helmet tilting as if studying him. A second alien joined the first. They communicated in clicking sounds that Hanbin couldn't understand. The second one pointed at him, then at their ship visible through the broken wall. The first one shook its head and made a sharp gesture. These were the last things Hanbin saw. The darkness at the edges of his vision grew until it covered everything. His last thought was of the sparkle wingbirds, hoping some of them had managed to fly away in time. Hours later, when the attack was over and the alien ships had left, rescue teams would find that most of the colony had managed to escape in the pods. The settlement of New Buzan was completely destroyed, but only one life had been lost. A single child, found in the ruins of the medical wing. The aliens had sent their message. They had shown humanity what happened when colonies spread too far. They thought taking one life would be enough of a warning. They were wrong. Admiral Park Do-hyun stood at the window of his office in Earth Defense Command, looking out at the massive ships being built in the orbital docks. His reflection showed a man in his 50s, with tired eyes and gray starting to show in his black hair. The stars beyond the ships sparkled coldly, reminding him of tears. The message from Dawn 3 had arrived an hour ago. Now, the data tablet in his hands felt as heavy as a stone. He had read the report 5 times, but the words remained the same. One child dead. Han-bin, 8 years old. Sir, his assistant stood at the door. The emergency council is ready for you. Do-hyun nodded, straightening his uniform. As he walked through the station's corridors, his mind went back 15 years to another attack. His own family had died in the Mars conflict. His daughter had been 7. The council room was already full when he arrived. 12 screens showed the faces of Earth's military and political leaders. The 13th screen remained dark. It would show the parents of Han-bin once they reached the nearest communication station. Admiral Park, the council leader, spoke first. We've all read the initial report. Please tell us what we know. Do-hyun touched a control, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed the alien ships that had attacked Dawn 3. The attack lasted 47 minutes, he said, keeping his voice steady. The aliens call themselves the Raven Dominion. They left this message after the attack. He played the audio. A mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. This space belongs to the Dominion. Return to your own worlds. This child's death is your warning. Next time, we will not be so merciful. The room was silent for a long moment. Then one of the council members spoke. They killed a child to send a message. Yes, Do-hyun said. They chose their target carefully. They wanted to show they could take what matters most to us. He paused, looking at each face on the screens. They don't understand humans very well. Another council member leaned forward. What do you mean, Admiral? The Dominion thinks killing one child will make us retreat in fear. Do-hyun's voice grew stronger. They don't understand that humans will cross galaxies to protect our children. And when someone harms a child, he let the words hang in the air. The dark screen suddenly lit up. Dr. Nam Ki-tae and Dr. Song Jae appeared, their faces pale and drawn with grief. Ki-tae spoke first, his voice rough. Admiral Park, we received your message about our son. The council members fell silent. Do-hyun turned to face the grieving parents. Doctors Nam, I promise you both, the Dominion will learn that they made a terrible mistake. Jae wiped tears from her eyes. They took our boy, our Han-bin. He loved the birds on Dawn 3. He wanted to be a scientist like us. Her voice broke. Do-hyun touched another control. The hologram changed to show Earth's new war fleet. 30 ships built in secret over the past decade. They were meant for defense, but now they would serve another purpose. The fleet is ready, he said. Commander Lee Sunmei has already begun planning our response. And Dr. Nam, he looked at Ki-tae. Your research on shield penetration technology will be very useful. Ki-tae's eyes hardened. Use everything I know, Admiral. Make them understand what they've done. The council leader spoke again. Admiral Park, you have full authority. The fleet is yours. Show the Dominion why humans have survived everything space has thrown at us. Do-hyun looked back at the hologram of Earth's ships. They were beautiful and terrible, like angels of vengeance waiting to be unleashed. The Dominion thought they were dealing with simple colonists, scientists who would run at the first sign of danger. They were about to learn that humanity had teeth, sharp ones. We launch in 24 hours, Do-hyun announced. The Dominion wanted to send us a message. Well, now we're going to send them one back. As the meeting ended, Do-hyun looked one last time at Hanbin's parents on the screen. In their eyes, he saw the same fire that had burned in his own heart 15 years ago. The Dominion had killed one child to scare humanity. Instead, they had awakened a force they couldn't possibly understand. Commander Lee Sunmei walked through the hangar of the flagship, Memory of Dawn, studying the new weapons being loaded. Each missile contained technology based on Dr. Nam's research, weapons that could pierce the strongest shields. The irony wasn't lost on her that a grieving father's work would help avenge his son. At 42, Sunmei was Earth's best tactical mind. She had won 3 space battles during the Mars conflict, but this was different. This time, they were the hunters, not the defenders. "Commander," a young technician called out, "the final test results are in." Sunmei took the tablet, reading quickly. A small smile crossed her face. The Dominion's shields were strong, yes, but they had a weakness. They were designed to stop energy weapons and solid projectiles. They weren't ready for what humanity had created. Admiral Park's voice came over her communicator. "Commander Lee, report to the bridge." The bridge of the Memory of Dawn was a marvel of human engineering. Screens showed the other 29 ships of the fleet, each one carrying 200 crew members. 600 of Earth's best pilots would fly the fighter squadrons. "Tell me we're ready," Admiral Park said as Sunmei entered. She nodded, bringing up a hologram of their battle plan. "The Dominion thinks their technology is superior to ours. That's their first mistake." The hologram showed their fleet split into 3 groups. "They'll expect us to attack head-on, to seek revenge quickly and emotionally. That's their second mistake." Admiral Park studied the plan. "They don't think we can track them." "Their third mistake," Sunmei agreed. "Dr. Nam's sensors can detect their engine signatures. We'll find their home system. But first," she zoomed in on the first part of her plan. "We let them think they've won," she continued. "Our fleet will appear to scatter in fear. While they're feeling proud of themselves, our ships will actually be moving into position around their territory." The hologram showed the complex dance of ships she had planned. It would take weeks, but when it was done, the Dominion would be surrounded. "The weapons are ready?" Park asked. Sunmei pulled up the test results. Dr. Nam's shield breakers work perfectly. The Dominion built their defenses against standard weapons. "These," she gestured to the missiles being loaded below. "These are anything but standard." A young officer entered the bridge, saluting quickly. "Commander, Admiral, all ships report ready. The fleet can launch in 30 minutes. Park looked at the officer's name tag. "Lieutenant Kim Ta-won, right? You're our new tracking specialist." "Yes, sir," Ta-won said. "I've been studying the Dominion's movement patterns. They're careful, but they always return to the same sector. I think that's where their home system is." Sunmei added this information to her hologram. The plan grew clearer. "Good work, Lieutenant. You'll coordinate with our sensor ships." Tae-won nodded eagerly. "Sir, Commander, there's something else. The Dominion ships that attacked Dawn 3. They were small compared to what we think they really have. They sent their smallest ships to destroy a civilian colony. Because they thought we were weak," Park said quietly. "They thought we were just simple colonists playing at space travel." Sunmei closed the hologram. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. Every ship, every weapon, every crew member. We're not just ready for battle. We're ready for war." Park walked to the main window, looking at the gathered fleet. 30 ships of human vengeance, built to defend, but now prepared to attack. Each one carried a piece of Hanbin's story. His name was written in small letters on every shield breaker missile. "Send the launch signal," Park ordered. "All ships, all crews. It's time to show the Dominion what happens when you harm a human child." The mighty engines of 30 warships came to life. In the hangar below, pilots ran to their fighters. Throughout the fleet, crew members moved to battle stations. They all knew why they were fighting. They had all seen the pictures of a smiling 8-year-old boy who loved alien birds. As the fleet moved out of Earth's orbit, Sunmai looked at her battle plan one last time. The Dominion thought they knew what humans were capable of. They thought one death would scare humanity back to Earth. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. 3 weeks into the search, Lieutenant Kim Ta-won stared at his tracking screen aboard the Memory of Dawn. His eyes were tired, but he couldn't look away. Somewhere in the patterns of light showing alien ship movements, the Dominion's secret was hiding. "More coffee, Lieutenant." A crew member offered him a cup. "Thanks." Ta-won took it without looking up. He had been studying the Dominion's ship movements for days. They were careful, yes, but everyone made mistakes, even aliens who thought they were better than humans. His screen beeped softly. A Dominion patrol had just appeared at the edge of their sensors. Commander Lee Sunmai walked over to his station. "What do you see, Lieutenant?" she asked quietly. "Watch this, Commander." Ta-won played back the last month of ship movements. Every Dominion ship follows different routes, but look here. He pointed to a particular sector of space. They'd all avoid this area. They go around it, never through it. Sun's eyes narrowed. They're protecting something. Yes, but there's more. Ta-won overlaid the patrol routes. Every 7 days, they change their patterns. But they always leave a gap here. He circled an area with his finger. It's like a door in their patrol wall. Admiral Park joined them, looking at the display. A supply route. Better. Ta-won smiled. It's their road home. Every ship that goes through that gap is carrying something heavy. Probably supplies, yes, but also, he pulled up the sensor readings. Families. The energy readings match passenger ships. Sunma straightened up. They're not just supply runs. They're taking their children home. The word children hung in the air. Everyone on the bridge thought of Hanbin. "How sure are you?" Park asked. "Very sure, sir." Ta-won showed more data. "I've matched the energy signals to known Dominion ships. The ones going through the gap are their civilian vessels, and they're all heading to the same place." Sun Mi moved to the main tactical display. "Show me." Ta-won sent his data to the big screen. A map of space appeared, showing all the Dominion patrol routes in red. When overlaid, they formed a pattern, like spokes on a wheel, all pointing to one hidden center. "Their home system," Park said softly. "You found it." "Yes, sir. And there's something else." Ta-won pulled up new readings. "Remember how their ship shields were so strong? Those shields need power, lots of power. And power leaves traces." He adjusted the sensors. New lines appeared on the map. Energy trails left by the Dominion's mighty shields. They were invisible to normal sensors, but Dr. Nam's technology could see them. "They're drawing so much power that they're leaving a trail right to their front door," Sunmai said, impressed. "Their greatest strength is showing us exactly where they live." Ta-won finished. "Their arrogance makes them careless." Admiral Park studied the map for a long moment. Then he opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, battle positions. Commander Lee's plan begins now." Across space, 30 Earth ships moved silently into position. They used minimal power, running dark and quiet. The Dominion's patrols passed by, never noticing the hunters hiding in plain sight. On the bridge of the Memory of Dawn, Sunli updated her battle plan. "We'll need 3 days to get all ships in position. Then, when their patrol patterns open that gap again, we'll be waiting." Park finished. "Lieutenant Kim, keep tracking those energy signatures. I want to know every ship that moves in or out of their home system." Ta-won nodded, turning back to his screens. The dots of light showing Dominion ships moved in their regular patterns, still thinking they were safe, still believing their technology made them invisible. In 3 days, they would learn differently. In 3 days, they would understand what it meant to face a human fleet hunting for justice. As the Earth ships moved silently into position, Ta-won thought about the picture of Hanbin that hung in every ship's crew area. The boy would never see another alien bird, never help in his parents' lab again. But his death had led humanity right to the Dominion's door. The hunters were closing in. Soon, very soon, the Dominion would learn that their warning had been their greatest mistake. They had killed a child to scare humanity. Instead, they had shown humanity exactly where to find them. The Dominion never saw the first strike coming. As their patrol ships moved to create their regular supply road gap, Earth's fleet appeared like ghosts from the darkness of space. 30 ships, their engines cold from waiting, suddenly blazing to life. All ships, attack pattern Sunmay. Commander Lee's voice was calm over the fleet channel. Remember your training. Remember why we're here. The memory of dawn led the charge, its engines glowing bright against the stars. Behind it, Earth's ships moved in perfect formation. They had practiced this dance for weeks, each captain knowing their exact role. The Dominion's response was quick but confused. Their patrol ships rushed to protect the gap, shields glowing with that same arrogant power that had led humanity right to them. Larger ships began emerging from their home system, their black hulls gleaming like whetstone. First wave, launch fighters. Admiral Park ordered. Lieutenant Kim, status of their defenses. Taiwan's fingers flew over his console. Their main fleet is still powering up, sir. They didn't keep their big ships ready for battle. They never expected anyone to find them. 600 Earth fighters poured from the fleet's hangars. They were smaller than the Dominion ships, more fragile-looking, but they carried Dr. Nam's special weapons. This is for my son. Dr. Nam's voice came over the command channel from his science station. Fighters, activate shield breakers. The first wave of Earth fighters met the Dominion's patrol ships. The alien shields lit up, ready to swat these human insects aside. Then Dr. Nam's weapons hit. The shield breakers did exactly what their name promised. They didn't just hit the Dominion's shields. They broke through them like they weren't there. The mighty defenses that the aliens had relied on simply failed. Direct hits confirmed. Sun Mai reported, watching her tactical display. Their shields are useless against our weapons. Moving to Phase 2. The Earth fleet split into 3 groups, just as they had practiced. One group drove straight toward the gap, while the other 2 swung around to trap the Dominion ships between them. Sir, Taiwan called out. Large energy spike from their home system. They're bringing out their dreadnoughts. Through the gap came 3 massive ships, each one bigger than anything humanity had ever built. They were the same blade-shaped design that had attacked Dawn 3, but these were the real warships, not the small ones that had killed Hanbin. All ships, hold formation, Park commanded. Commander Lee. Ready, Admiral. Sun Mi's voice was still calm. Activating Phase 3. The Earth fleet's formation suddenly changed. The ships moved like dancers, sliding into new positions. The Dominion's huge ships fired their main weapons and hit nothing but empty space. Return fire, Sun Mi ordered. All ships, all batteries. Every Earth ship fired at once. Thousands of shield breaker missiles streaked across space. The Dominion's mighty dreadnoughts tried to dodge, but Sun Mi had predicted their moves. Their shields flickered and died under the assault. Their fleet is in chaos, Taiwan reported, his voice excited. They're trying to retreat, but our ships have cut off their escape routes. Park watched as the mighty Dominion fleet came apart. Their ships, designed to fight enemies who attacked head-on, couldn't handle Earth's complex battle plan. Without their shields, they were vulnerable to even the smallest Earth fighter. Message from the largest Dominion ship. The communications officer called out. They're asking for terms. The bridge fell silent. Sun Mi looked at Park, waiting for his decision. Put them on screen, Park ordered. The Dominion commander appeared. It was the first time any human had seen their true form. Behind its black armor, the alien looked almost fragile. You have defeated us, the Dominion commander said through its translator. We did not believe humans capable of such warfare. You believe many wrong things about humans, Park replied. Your greatest mistake was thinking that killing a child would make us retreat. We offer surrender, the Dominion commander said. Complete and unconditional. Park thought of Han Bin, of the boy's parents watching this battle from Earth, of all the families who had sent their sons and daughters to fight. Surrender accepted, he said finally. And now you will learn what it means to face humanity's justice. The battle was over. Humanity had won. But as Park looked at the wreckage of the mighty Dominion fleet, he knew this was more than just a victory. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget. 1 year after the battle, Dr. Nam Kitai and Dr. Song Jia stood on the rebuilt surface of Dawn 3. The settlement of New Buzan had been reconstructed, but in a different spot. The old location was now a memorial park. In the center of the park stood a statue. It showed a young boy feeding one of Dawn 3's 6-winged birds. The statue was made of black stone taken from a destroyed Dominion warship. At its base, words were carved in both human and Dominion script. Han Bin Nam, age 8. The children are sacred. Remember. He would have loved seeing the birds return, Jaya said softly, watching a flock of sparkle wings circle the statue. The beautiful creatures had come back to Dawn 3 once the fighting ended. Kitai held his wife's hand tightly. Behind them, Admiral Park and Commander Lee waited respectfully. This was the first time Han Bin's parents had returned to Dawn 3 since the attack. The Dominion representatives are ready, Park said gently. But we can delay the meeting if you need more time. No, Kitai shook his head. It's time they see what they did, what their warning really meant. They walked to the new settlement's main hall. Inside, 3 Dominion leaders waited. They looked different now, their black armor replaced by simple gray robes. They had learned humility in defeat. The lead Dominion rose as the humans entered. Doctors Nam, it said through its translator, we have come to make amends. Amends. Jaya's voice was sharp. Can you bring back our son? The Dominion lowered its head. No, we cannot undo what was done, but we can learn from it. That is why we asked to meet here, at this place. Commander Lee stepped forward. Tell them what you've done since the surrender. The Dominion leader touched a control, and a hologram appeared. It showed hundreds of new schools being built across Dominion space. Each one had the same words carved above its entrance. The children are sacred. Remember, we did not understand humans, the Dominion said. We thought taking one life would scare you away. Instead, it showed us what true strength is. You flew across space not for revenge, but for justice. Not just for one child, but for all children. Keita watched the hologram change, showing Dominion children in the new schools. What are you teaching them? We teach them about Han Bin, another Dominion answered. We teach them that strength is not in weapons or shields. It is in protecting the innocent. We teach them that every child, human or Dominion, is precious. Park nodded. The peace treaty required the Dominion to change how they deal with other species. No more warnings, no more threats. We have learned, the lead Dominion said. Now when we meet new species, we remember Han Bin. We remember what happens when you harm what others hold most dear. Jaya wiped tears from her eyes. Our son. He wanted to learn about your people. He was curious about everything in space. And now our children learn about him, the Dominion replied. In every school, in every colony, they know his name. They know his story. Outside, the sparkle wings continued to fly around Han Bin's statue. More birds had joined them, not just the 6-winged ones, but new species too. Life on Dawn 3 was growing, changing, becoming something new. We have a request, the lead Dominion said. In our tradition, when we learn a great lesson, we give a new name to the teacher. We would like to name our new education system after Han Bin. Kita and Jia looked at each other. Then Kita spoke. Our son would have liked that. He always wanted to teach others about the wonders he saw. As the sun set on Dawn 3, casting purple shadows across the memorial park, humans and Dominion stood together. They watched the alien birds fly, remembering one small boy who had changed 2 civilizations forever. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity would explore the stars, would meet new species, would build new colonies, and everywhere they went, they would carry this truth, that the children are sacred, that some lines must never be crossed, and that humanity's greatest strength lies not in its weapons, but in its fierce, unending love for its children. Han Bin's spirit lived on, in the schools that bore his name, in the birds that flew around his statue, and in the hearts of all who looked to the stars and remembered the lesson taught by one child's life.